This is take 2 of session 2. We had a technical difficulty. So I was telling you about the German refrigerators, about as tall as this part up to here, my chair, maybe not even that tall, and as wide as this chair. So that means the refrigerator is up to here and the freezer is about this big. And there's not much room to put food in there. Well, see, they go shopping every day. They don't go to Walmart and stock up for 2 weeks groceries. You don't do that because there's no place to put them. Just like their clothes, they don't buy 5 outfits because they don't have room but for one. So they're very, very good quality though, I can tell you that. Anyway, so the balconies, when it would be cold weather, we would set a pot of something, whatever we wanted to put in a bowl or something out and put it in the refrigerator. We couldn't. We just put the top on it, leave it out on the windowsill. And sometimes it froze, and that was all right. We just thaw it out and cook it or whatever. It was very handy to have a window ledge or balcony you could do that with. Another thing about balconies that I found very delightful was they would air their bedding every morning over the balcony. And their bedding consists, of course, of a German feather tick. And when I first went to Germany and I saw this custom, I didn't understand what they were doing, and someone explained to me, well, every morning they air out their feather tick, their bed cover. And so I wanted one so bad, and I didn't have any money at all. Well, we went to what they called the Sally Inn. That was the Salvation Army thrift store. There was one in Switzerland. So my sister took me over there one time, and we were looking through things, and I saw these feather ticks that were there that were really, really cheap. And so I bought one, and somebody found out that I had done that, and they said, oh, aren't you afraid of bugs or something in those feather ticks? And I said, God knew how much I wanted a feather tick, and he wasn't about to let me get any bugs in there. So that's what and I still to this day sleep under a feather tick, day and summer and winter, day and night. So that's a little something that stayed with me from Germany. But also, not only the clothes on the balcony and the feather tick over the balcony, they also would, after a meal, they would just pick up the tablecloth, go to the window, and shake it out over the window. I guess maybe that's why they swept their streets every morning, because people had thrown their trash out. Now, you wouldn't throw out a bunch of stuff, but just the little crumbs that are left after you've done your meal. Well, it's very simple. You just take it to the balcony and fluff it in the wind. Well, we had a student visiting us one night, and we lived in what we called a Dachwohnung. That's under the eaves of the house, the attic part. And so we were living in this Dachwohnung, and we shook the tablecloth, and my roommate didn't hold on to it well, and it flew out over the rooftop of the next house. Well, this particular apartment that we were in, there were several houses connected together because there aren't single family dwellings very much in Germany. Mostly are connected. So the student who had come to visit us climbed out on the roof. Now, I'm not going to tell you who he is, but he'll know who he is. But if I told him who he was, you might get in trouble. So I'm going to tell you who you are. So he climbed over the rooftop to get that tablecloth, and he brought it back in. It was a very special tablecloth. So we still continued to put the tablecloth out the window, but we made sure that we held on to it really well. I wanted to say, I have to make notes because my mind is, getting out. Anyway, about the clothes, those nice, expensive clothes. Well, they would have sales, and they would have the sales racks outside of the store. So you didn't have to go in the store to look at their sales. You could go through the ones out on the street, and then you go in and pay for them. And the grocery stores, they would put their produce out in front of the store. You would have vegetables out there, or I don't remember anything else, especially the vegetables. There were carrots and potatoes and tomatoes outside. But the strange thing about their custom was every day, everything closed down at 1 o'clock. Everything. But they didn't take inside any of the things that were out on the street. and nobody stole them. Now, can you imagine? I see these people who loot after a hurricane or a disaster, and they breaking windows and stealing and stuff like that. Well, it just didn't happen there. That people didn't steal anything. So they had, at any given time, during that 1 hour break in the day, you knew not to go to the grocery store, not to go to the bank, not to go to the clothing store during the noontime break, because they would be closed from 1 to 2 every day. And I found that to be quite different to us as well. Speaking of the Christmas trees, when I was writing this down, reminded me of the differences in decoration. And it's changed a lot since I first went over there 25 years ago. You can imagine, 32 years ago. It's been 42 years. Oh, my word. I'm getting old, y'all. So when I first went to Germany in 1976, that was 40 years ago. Oh, well, that's for another time. Anyway, so I loved the decorations that they had. And one thing that they did was, I wish I had one with me to show you, but if you've ever been to Germany, you know what I'm talking about. They made ornaments out of straw. And they made things like stars and circles and triangles and different shapes like that out of straw. And they were really, really pretty. Very delicate because it was straw. You had to be careful with it. But really, really pretty. But another thing they did that I had never seen before, and we don't do that in East Tennessee, is they put candles on the Christmas tree. And there's a little candle holder. You put the small candle in the holder, and it clips onto the tree branch. And you make sure that where you clip this one is not the same place you want to put the next one. So you space them so that they're not above each other. So you would have one down here, and one up here, so that the tree doesn't catch on fire. And there aren't very many fires that I heard of, so they were very careful in the placement of the candles. But I really thought that was beautiful, and I really enjoyed the candles on the tree. Well, I have one more thing I want to share with you, and that is a precious memory. I taught physical education at Black Forest Academy, and we lived in Kandern, which is a 3 kilometers distance from Sitzenkirch, where the school was. So I would usually ride the school bus to school and back, but when I was in the mood for it, which was actually quite often, I would run. And there was a trail parallel to the street that ran the 3 kilometers through the woods, and it was beautiful running through the woods. Good weather, it was nice to do that. And I had a red Anzug, which is training suit, jogging suit, we would call it. Zipper top, and slacks. And there I was with my tennis shoes on, and I was running through the hills and to school. So one day, we always like to go to different restaurants to try out or see what they were like and everything. So one night, my roommate and I went to the village up the mountain from where the school was. So we weren't that far from Condon where we lived, but it was further up the mountain than the school. So we went up there to have supper, and there's a custom in Germany. It's called the Stammtisch. And what that is the local men from the village will sit at that table. It's always their table. You don't sit at the Stammtisch. If you go to a restaurant and there's a little sign on the table that says Stammtisch, you don't go there. Because the men gather there and they smoke their cigars, their pipes, their cigarettes. So it's always smoking. You have to wash your clothes afterwards. But everybody knew what the Stammtisch was. And so we were eating our meal, and we were almost finished with our meal. And the lady, waitress, came over and put 2 little glasses on the table. And I looked at Cheryl, and Cheryl looked at me, and we said, we didn't order anything. And the waitress said, von Stammtisch. So what that meant was, it's from the men's table. And they had seen us come in, and they recognized me. I looked over them to say thank you for the schnapps. It was terrible. I don't like schnapps. We had to drink it, though, because it was a gift from the men. So we chucked it down. And I went to say thank you. And one man says, Little Red Riding Hood. They had seen me running through the forest, and they called me. They recognized me. and they called me Little Red Riding Hood. So for now, Little Red Riding Hood is closing down this session, but the next session will be coming up in the next few days. So look for me, and I'll be looking for you. God bless you, and I love you.